Hello and welcome back to another panel at SiGMA Roadshow edition Nigeria. My name is Zakaria El Maroufi and the theme for this discussion is the evolution of tech in gaming. With me on this panel, Emeka Ezei from Jumio, Ogochukwu Chukwudifo from Oddstacker, and Dari Lonson from Ref Predictor. So, we have a lot to cover, so let's start with Chukwudifo. So before we get into the tech itself, must address the availability of the internet service in the region. Where is there a room for improvement, or have any projects caught your eye?
Okay, so for internet in the country, it has come a long way from what it used to be. There's a lot of coverage at the moment, and even in rural areas, there is internet coverage. So the area that I would say we need a lot of improvement is the pricing. Internet is very expensive in Nigeria, or let me say quite expensive in Nigeria. So you actually need a good sum of money, like to get the amount we use in subscribing for data in our workspace now is above the minimum wage, you can imagine. So it's quite expensive. We need a lot of improvements in the area, and perhaps maybe the country should open up to foreign operators, because I think competition helps a lot in driving down prices. So currently, the giants in the country are not acting like competing bodies at all. Their prices are very similar, as if they are just drinking from the same cup. So we need some competition, something to make everybody try to appeal more to the customers. So, and at the moment, not too many operators are offering top-notch services. So even though there are a lot of operators, the option for quality internet is still very few. So we need a lot of improvement in pricing and quality competition.
Okay, thank you. And Dari, maybe you want to give us your perspective from this, since you are based in Nigeria.
Absolutely. The internet obviously needs to be improved on, but of course, a lot has been done, just like Ugo said, from where we were to where we are now. And the bandwidth, of course, there's main one, there's the Glo bandwidth, and there are other, operators like the MTN, the MNOs basically, So, but of course, he mentioned pricing, that has to come down. And I learned that Elon Musk had touched base in Nigeria, for his own Satlink, like his own internet service through the satellite. With more competition, like he said, it might be local, it might be international. We just need to get the prices down and the quality of services, just like you have in India, basically, to increase. It helps businesses across board, and you can start talking technology in real sense.
Okay, and with this increase to the internet, we are seeing people innovating very quickly. So where do you see this going in the future? For example, Emeka, you can give us your perspective about this.
Well, I would say with the increase of internet users in not only Nigeria, but Africa as a whole, that's going to obviously give some gateway to fraudsters for fraudulent transactions, accounts takeover, bonus abuse. It's a whole new ball game, and research shows in Nigeria, 43%, I believe, 43% of the citizens actually actively use the internet. So about 60 million users in Nigeria are actively online, whether that's a mobile device or desktop. So there is, of course, cybersecurity, virus issues, again, fraudsters, fraudulent transactions also. So there really is going to be a need to clamp down on security measures from a compliance perspective, antivirus perspective, trust and safety as well, for things like underage gambling, etc. So a lot really needs to be done and taken into consideration in the very near future.
Thank you, Emeka. So an interesting aspect of the payment industry in Africa So is the fact that the debit and credit card phase was mostly skipped over and everyone went straight to mobile payment. Do you think that there are any changes that we could expect? For example, Dari, you can answer this question.
Basically, I would say that that process of debit and credit cards was not skipped, basically, but maybe the process didn't take so long, because I definitely used that service, both the debit and the credit, but of course it wasn't just open to everybody. So it's important that I just mentioned that. And in terms of the mobile payment, like, we're not at the level as you have in Kenya, where you have M-Pesa, right? We're not at that level yet, and the government is doing a whole lot, to drive financial inclusion, to ensure that in rural areas, payment, cashless, system can go around. And of course, that should come with access to credits and, better usage, because right now, most of the payment platforms use these services for buying airtime. And that is something I believe is underused. So we should be able to use these services for buying airtime, for doing more things. Like you have WeChat in China. You can use it to, pay for things in the restaurant, share your bills and all of that. So mobile payment has come a long way. And of course, the transition from debit, credit card to mobile payment was pretty fast in Nigeria. And I believe that we could also that could play a huge role in how we're also able to play a part in the future kinds of payments that are available. For example, the near field payment, the ones where you have to stripe, your magnetic thing, your cards over a device. There's POS. POS is on the rise. Now in rural areas they're using POS, and of course, those things like Stripe, the services Stripe would offer, and Visa and MasterCard are offering these services. These things are coming in line, but at the level of POS, I think we're doing fine. But of course, we'll need to get into those other spaces. And plus or minus, I wouldn't say we're doing badly, basically, across Africa, but we need to speed up.
Thank you so much. And maybe Shukudi, if you want to give another different perspective, or maybe you want to add something?
What you said is okay. Mobile payments is on the rise. We can still do a lot more. Like you said, we've come a long way, but we can still do a lot more in integrating it into society. So I think on the grassroots level, we have to make people realize how safe it is, how convenient it is, and how it can promote their businesses. So the other day I was in one of the biggest markets in Africa, the main market. I noticed a lot of trading goes down in that market, but the shop owners don't own POSs. So you can see POS devices all around, like POS operators. You go to them, then you get cash, then you go pay. But the shop owners, the traders themselves, they don't have POS machines. And these are very, very business-oriented folks. But it seems that somehow they've not just come to that point where they can accept POS payments. And POS payments is something that is on a very rapid increase across the country. Even small shops are now having POS. So grassroots orientation will help a lot in driving these payment systems further.
So how has this come up within your company? For example, this new method of payment coming along, such as cryptocurrency. So like there will be a need for a new AML and KYC procedure.
Yeah, so absolutely. With the rise of blockchain and cryptocurrencies and even NFTs, there is a massive gap for, again, fraudulent transactions, fraudulent wallets being produced, and of course that needs to be regulated. There needs to be a regulatory body looking after transactions, prevention of anti-money laundering, and of course, know your customer, KYC. From a Jumio perspective, with the identity verification platform that we provide, we are able to seamlessly and in real time verify customers during onboarding. Okay, so one of the regulatory mandates for any crypto firm or even banking and finance is to verify customers during onboarding, during sign up, to comply with these measures, as well as an AML screening in the background once that customer has been onboarded. So a solution like Jumio and other providers out there, the benefit here and how technology is advanced is we can do this in real time, literally within seconds, whereas a traditional method could take hours or sometimes days to verify one customer. And you have to be very conscious of the customer journey and abandonments, dropouts, etc. So definitely with the cryptocurrency and new payment methods, that still needs to be screened for both from a KYC perspective and from a compliance perspective. It is essential, but the fine line is to get the timing and the verification done in a timely manner, in an accurate manner, and in a secure manner as well. And that's where different businesses like Jumio and other KYC players, that's where we can really have an impact.
Thank you, Emeka. So, Dari, what do you think? Do you agree? And do you have something like such in your company?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Emeka, right? Quite a lot has been done. Quite a lot needs to be done. Let me come from the gaming perspective or the gaming sector, right? Blockchain is coming on the rise, right? Cryptocurrency is becoming a means to pay, to reward, to redeem prices and all of that. But of course, it comes with this level of scrutiny, and you want to be sure that every government wants to be sure that these things are just not going to kick banking away just like that. And even the banking sector are also very, very cautious, and they're watching closely. Some of them are already adopting blockchain, but not, of course, adopting crypto is a government, has to do with government regulation. But in gaming, right, crypto is creeping in really. And in Nigeria here, I'm not certain if crypto is something of a mainstay yet. Of course, I see brands that talk about accepting crypto and all of that. But from a regulatory perspective, it's still about our main currency. So there's room for this, but of course, caution has to be, not thrown into the wind. And that's one of the things they make out emphasize, So pretty much there's room for crypto, but security is something we need to be wary of.
Good, thank you so much. And what about Oddstack? Are they applying some technology like this, or?
Yeah, we are already looking in that direction. In fact, we plan to pivot in that direction in terms of cryptocurrency. So as it is, we trying to stay on the legal side of things and not soaring into problems with regulatory bodies and all that. So crypto is a strong consideration for pivoting for us. So in terms of regulation, yeah, caution should not be thrown to the wind because there's a lot going on in the world, and money moving around without being checkmated is going to be a problem one way or the other. So cryptocurrency is still developing. Governments are still figuring out what to do with it, how to regulate it. So in terms of AML and KYC in the gaming sector, it's going to be a sort of reaction from how government reacts to cryptocurrency in general. So governments regulate, and the KYC AML in gaming industry is going to be a reflection of government regulation of cryptocurrency. So as this development unfolds, yeah, we should all be cautious and tread with care, but at the same time, follow up the trend because technology, if you don't keep up with it, it leaves you behind.
Thank you so much. And I was thinking about responsible gaming, which is increasingly becoming a hot topic within the industry. Where do you stand on this, Emeka?
Absolutely, responsible gaming is key for a gaming and online betting, gambling sector. For example, in the UK, we have here the UKGC that regulates gaming. In Malta, one of the biggest hubs for gaming, you have the MGA. And some of the key mandates when it comes to responsible gaming with these regulators are things like protecting the minor and vulnerable people, safeguard players the right way, ensuring integrity of games and gaming devices, keeping gaming free from criminal activities, and promoting responsible gaming in a safe environment. When it comes to Nigeria, in fact, we do have a regulatory board, which is on the national level. It's the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, so the NLRC. And more specifically in Lagos State, we've got the Lagos State Lotteries Board, so the LSLB. And they are proactively, in recent times, they've taken measures to provide a more safeguard gaming environment. And there was a big drive and push on underage gambling and preventing minors from utilizing different gaming platforms. So much so, in fact, I believe last year, August, the NLRC took out a campaign to kick out and ban underage campaign. They had a lot of souvenirs and promotions and people on ground educating the youth about the issues of underage gaming, the long-term effects it could have. Really having a hands-on approach to the issues with this particular subject. So, and again, to bring that into KYC software solutions, that's exactly what identity verification solutions can provide. Again, trust and safety, enabling players and operators to make sure players are of age by capturing a copy of their ID card, which would extract, for example, the date of birth from the ID card, and also corroborate that with a selfie. So ensure that person is who they say they are and of age as well. So it's definitely a key factor. Nigeria has been moving in that direction. It's being driven by the regulators, and I think things will really come into effect in the next few years from a KYC, underage, and safeguarding perspective in terms of online gaming in the country.
So what I was going to ask you again, Emeka, should the companies ensure that they self-regulate, or should the government step in and set a standard for everyone?
Good question. I would say the government should step in and set a standard for everyone on an even playing field. Because if an operator decides to self-regulate, they might be missing out certain aspects or taking advantage of certain things which another company might not choose to, and it causes a lot of confusion. It could cause a lot of confusion, a lot of distraction, a lot of illegal operations, etc. So when you have a government-based regulatory system like the NLRC, that's an even playing field. That's one rule for everyone, which you should obey and comply with. And of course, giving leeway and measures to certain companies and operators who might be in the startup phase. But overall, there should be one.
And especially this question, I want to hear all your perspectives. So let's go to Dari first, and then we'll jump into Shukudifo. Dari, go ahead.
Surely. KYC is actually very, very much tied to all of the things we've said, like the security things we said earlier. For example, why KYC is very key is this: how do you know I'm 18 or not? Right? It's easier to monitor or enforce KYC online than offline. For example, for the retail users, the gambling companies that have shops, who is checking if the people playing the games are actually 18, right? So you could even see students sometimes walk into these shops to play. For the retailer, it's about sales, it's about commissions, right? And so they don't care. But of course, in terms of who should regulate, self or the government, I think both approaches should be combined. Why I say so is this: when you set up your company, right, to be there for the fans or to be there for the users, right, you naturally set all these regulations in your, even from your pricing, right, even from the number of times people can spend. For example, do you have the option to quit playing when you reach a certain amount of money spent on the platform? You know, so there's so much a government can do, because not all companies are equal. So if there's just a flat, you know, layer to say this is how regulation should be, there are the big brands that can still, you know, like I said, the retail, they can still break some of these regulations or even circumvent them. But if from the makeup of a company, you are actually setting out to, you know, to look out for the interest of the users, right? And there are other third-party organizations like NGOs. You know, for example, in the UK, there's just in line with racism, there's Kick Out Racism. In gaming, there's responsible gaming, responsible gaming, yeah, organizations that look out for, you know, beyond government now, right? This is like a private entity looking out for, you know, the users on the other end to see that these rules, these vulnerabilities are actually being closed. So, for example, our company, right, Ref, on the platform, will ensure that from the pricing, there's an amount of money you can even bring on the platform, right? So, for example, if you allow people to be able to wager ₦1 million, right? And if they lose that money, that's going to have a huge impact on that person and a ripple effect on the society. So first, I need to know you're 18. Then I need to know that there's some level of control on how you're able to spend on the platform. Then beyond that, I need to also know, right, that you are who you say you are. Because in Nigeria, for your gaming company, we usually take this document called SiGMA from the EFCC, right? That is to guard against money laundering and all of that. And so that, you know, gaming funds are actually gaming funds. So that's why some gaming companies would ensure that you cannot withdraw from your wallet the amount that you didn't win. So in case one money was just transferred to you, you can't withdraw it unless you have to win. And even when they give you bonuses, you have to take those bonuses back into playing before you're converted to prices that you can take out of the platform. So on that layer, in terms of the pricing, one has to look at how the pricing works out, you know, how often you can play, because responsible gaming is just not about the money. It's also about how long you spend gaming or gambling or doing all of these things. So the intent of the company, we actually set out to be there for the fans. So that's why the platform like Ref Predictor, the brand Ref is actually talking about being a referee on the pitch and even off the pitch. You know, so it goes on to talk about your level of responsibility. So don't use your school fees to gamble, or don't use your children's daughter's school fees to gamble. You know, but government can't come into all of this. But of course, these metrics have to be set on the platform in such a way that even if you live above this, you're able to, you know, self-regulate yourself. So plus or minus, I think it's something both the government and self-regulation should be combined.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And time is really running out. So let's pass to Shukudifo. So what can you tell us about this, about responsible gaming?
I agree a lot with what Darius said. It has to be a teamwork between the companies and the regulatory bodies. The companies should look out for their players. You should care about them. In the long run, your users, your customers can tell whether you actually care about them or not. So those things play a role. Like the example he gave, if you allow someone to take ₦1 million on your platform and he loses that money, he'll feel bad. He knows it's his fault, but somewhere in his heart, he's going to be bitter about your brand. So you should be able to look out for them genuinely on your own part and regulate, because there are things you can regulate that the government cannot. And then the government also should play a role in both monitoring the companies and making sure they are doing at least the basics that they should do. And then both of them should work together. It should be a teamwork. It shouldn't be a master-servant kind of scenario where companies just do it because the government says they should do it. So you should look out for your customer. You should work, put in some efforts, both in your algorithm and then your staff.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for all your perspectives. It was a pleasure to have you on board with us in this panel. And a special thanks to our viewers, and up to the next panel.